Oh, it's beautiful.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining in. So, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, but also beauty is subjective. But I have some books here that I think nobody can disagree that these books are not beautiful.
What do you mean you don't agree with me? Do you know who you're dealing with?
So, if you're ready, let's dive into my most beautiful books that I own today. If you're ready, let's dive into it. Alright, to start things off really strong here, I'm going to start with a book, an indie book that was actually from a Kickstarter, being Zack Argyle, with that being his Threadlight Omnibus, which is absolutely stunning here. I don't know if you can see this on the camera or not, but it just glistens in the sunlight. It looks fantastic on this shelf, and you can see it looks like something that should be on a king's bedside table, or he's picking it up every night just to read a couple pages before he falls asleep. But wow, this book, I can't say enough how beautiful it is. Inside we have some beautiful illustrations as well. Again, this is 3 books packed into one amazing edition here that came from the Kickstarter. So I'm not sure if this is going to be released out in the future in terms of being available to purchase outside that Kickstarter, but I am happy that I was one of the first people to snag this on the Kickstarter because it looks freaking beautiful. It's supporting an indie author, and I am very excited to read this book, these stories within this one omnibus here. So that's the first one, Threadlight by Zack Argyle. The next one, we're going to dive into a little bit of the cyberpunk genre with a edition that comes from Easton Press, with that being Snow Crash. So Snow Crash is one of my favorite cyberpunk books. I'm a huge fan of the cyberpunk genre, so when I saw this pop up on Easton Press, or at least when I saw it online, I was like, yeah, I want to check that out. And Easton Press, they're really known for their leather-bound books. As you can see, this is no exception here, but what's really cool about this is that, with a leather-bound book, you usually don't expect like a techno type of theme, but as you can see here, we have kind of like these circuit boards going on here. We got some swords going on here as well. Also, you got the author's name, Neal Stephenson, right here. And also, the tops, sides, and the bottom here all have that nice gold glisten to them. So again, another book that looks fantastic on the shelf. And we have some really good artwork inside right here in the very beginning. Other than that, it's exactly what you expect out of a book. We have words, we have pages, and we have a story that I really enjoyed. So I was really happy to pick up this edition right here of Snow Crash, the Easton Press edition. Okay, the next book is going to come from the Folio Society, and most of you guys know or have heard of the Folio Society because they have some amazing illustrated edition of books that just look absolutely phenomenal. And the one I have right here is no exception as well, with that being Rendezvous with Rama by Arthur C. Clarke. And this is a book that I read almost within a single day. I just consumed it on my Kindle, and when I saw this on Folio Society's website, I was like,
yeah, that is something I need on my shelf right away.
And I love how the font up here has that nice foil to it. It shines. But also the texture of the book, I don't know how to describe it, but it just feels different than any other book that I have. And also, with Folio Society, you can also expect some really good illustrations inside. So here is one example right here. It looks phenomenal. It looks great. And what's cool is that the book is also really good. And that's why I wanted to get this special edition right here to display it on my shelf. And I think it's beautiful in my opinion. So Rendezvous with Rama. Also, I think Denis Villeneuve, Dune guy, Arrival guy, Blade Runner guy, is going to direct a adaptation based off of this book. So if you've not read this one just yet, I highly recommend that you do, because I think you will have a great time. So that is Rendezvous with Rama, Arthur C. Clarke, the Folio Society edition. All right, next up is going to come from the Broken Binding team. Some of you guys might already be aware of what the Broken Binding team does, but all the books they push out, I feel just look absolutely stunning. I actually have a whole shelf dedicated to the Broken Binding team, so I'm not going to go over all of them. Just know, whatever they push out looks great, looks phenomenal. The one I'm going to show you now is actually going to be by James Islington, with that being The Will of the Many. And this story was one of my top reads of 2023, so when I saw this on Broken Binding's website, I knew I had to check it out. I knew I had to buy it because it's one of my favorite stories. I also think that the artwork on the front cover looks absolutely beautiful. It looks like it should be a painting in a museum. It looks amazing. I also love how it depicts one of the beginning scenes that you read within the story as well, which looks great. And it wraps around the entire front and back with that nice artwork with a really cool quote here on the back as well. And what's cool is that inside with broken binding, you can also expect some beautiful images inside. And here we have this crazy looking Colosseum scene, which I absolutely loved in the book as well. And also a maze labyrinth back here in the in papers. But also, broken binding, their foil work is also great as well. As you can see, we have this really cool image here that just shimmers. So they make it really hard to choose what you want to display on your shelf. The broken binding team does, because they give you like 3 options. Like they give you the cover here, the one that you're given right away, the naked hardback, and also sometimes they are reversible. So as you can see right here, we have a reversible cover that's red, which basically pays homage to the original cover, which is blue. Also, forgot to mention this, the sides are also spray painted as well. So you can see that we have a pillar right here, which is also paying homage to the original book. So again, The Will of the Many, broken binding team, James Islington. I can't recommend this one enough. All right, next up is going to be by a small little publisher, being Dragonsteel Press. And you guys probably already know this is not a small team. This is Brandon Sanderson's team, one of the largest authors in the fantasy genre. So I got one of his leather-bound books, being Elantris, or Elantris, however you say it. It's one of his very first books published, and this is the Dragonsteel edition that's leather-bound as well. And as you can see, it looks absolutely beautiful on the outside as well. It just has that nice foil work to it. It shines. It has that nice leather feel to it. It's heavy as crap. You can use this to bludgeon an intruder if they break into your house. Also, the inside of it has fantastic artworks on the end papers. As you can see, we have some more artwork continuing on in here. And I think it's even signed by Mr. Brando, which it is. Nice. So it's a fantastic looking book here. I'm really excited to be able to get one of Brandon Sanderson's new leather-bound book, because I know his Way of Kings series or the Stormlight Archives are just selling like hotcakes. Everyone who loves Brandon Sanderson wants a copy of that, and I'm happy to at least have one of them. Even if it's not in the Stormlight Archives series, it's one of his very first books. So I'm excited to read this at some point, because I'm sure the experience reading this will be great using this edition. Again, that is Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. Alright, next up is going to be a group of 3, because they are all a part of the same series. And you might be familiar with this because you watched my channel for a little bit, but I have the special editions of Dune, Dune Messiah, and Children of Dune, all by Frank Herbert here. And these editions just look fantastic on this shelf. Whenever the light hits it just right, it just looks so freaking cool. So you can see we have, Dune right here, the original one. All the books also have this nice blue sprayed edges, which is, paying homage to the Fremen blue eyes. And also artwork inside as well that looks stunning. And each cover has like words or a quote embossed into the actual cover itself. So you can see right here, we have the classic quote,
"Fear is the mind killer."
Also, the covers are also reversible if you wanted to. We have some fantastic artwork right there as well, which looks great. And it's hard to choose, again, what you want to display, but, I mean, you can't go wrong here with just the original cover. That looks amazing right here. I think this is stunning. Anyone who sees this image from here up, you can instantly tell, yeah, that's Dune. Same thing with Dune Messiah. We have, Mr. Paul right here sitting on that throne, and we have Children of Dune with these kids at the bottom looking very, very ominous. So, again, these editions are available, I think, on Amazon. You can even purchase these as a box as well to get all 3. And I think the box looks pretty cool, but, I got the original Dune a while ago, by itself, so I just picked these 2 up individually. So, again, that's Dune by Frank Herbert. You guys are not going to believe it, but I have another pack of 3 because they're all part of the same series, with that being by Mr. Pierce Brown. And you might already know where I'm going with this. It's going to be Red Rising here. And you can see this is the Fairy Loot editions of the book. That looks absolutely beautiful. It's almost breathtaking when you see it in the light. It just hits just right. And you see that wolf icon right there just glow. It looks super cool. But it doesn't stop there, because we also have Golden Sun here and Morning Star. And what's cool about these editions here, I mean, alone, they look great with the covers how they are right now, but the sides also have like this solar system map painted on the sides as well. Not the bottom, but the bottom still looks pretty good too. But the editions, they look fantastic, and it doesn't stop there either, because each book has artwork inside as well. So you can see right here, we have some beautiful artwork, so you can get a little bit more ingrained into the characters in here, but also Also some foil work on the front covers as well, which looks great. And actually I have not checked the back, so I'm not even sure if there's anything on the back. Yeah, well, look at that. We have a solar system going on there. That looks pretty cool. With each book also having a nice quote on the back as well, which looks great. And for whatever reason, I freaking love the white font on top of the black here for the covers. They look really cool. And each color, I think, is a good representation of what to expect going into these stories. Like Red Rising, I think it's kind of fitting that we have, a red color being the theme here. In Golden Sun, we have a, gold theme going on here. Morning Star is blue. So overall, it looks great. The colors pop. They're beautiful additions. So the Fairy Loot team did a fantastic job with the Red Rising trilogy right here. At least the first 3 books in this series. And if you guys have been watching my channel for a little bit, you might know that Hyperion is one of my favorite books of all time. So I do have a special edition of that, being the Easton Press edition, which has that nice leather-bound feel to it. Also has this gold sheen to it, just like Snow Crash did earlier. But also inside, we have this fantastic image of the Shrike right here. I mean, other than that, it's the same story that you would get in any other copy, like the mass paperback edition. It's just this one looks really good on this shelf, and I'm just happy to have a special edition of Hyperion, with it being one of my favorite books of all time. But I did hear a rumor that the Broken Binding team might be doing a special edition of Hyperion, and if they do, I might be going pretty nuts over that. So just giving you an FYI right now on that. So again, Dan Simmons, Hyperion, Easton Press edition. Alright, the last one might be a series you've heard of. It could be something that you're a little bit familiar with, even if you have not read it just yet. With that being the Lord of the Rings. And I have here the Alan Lee illustrated special editions here of each of the books. So right here, the first one's going to be The Hobbit. So you can see we have some fantastic artwork on the front, the spine, and the back cover as well, which looks great. But what's cool about these editions is that they are freaking packed to the brim full of illustrations. Almost every single other page, I feel like, has illustrations of something going on in the story. I mean, it just looks beautiful. These will definitely make my reading experience of these books fantastic. Even some more images down here, and the chapter headers have images as well. So it just looks fantastic. And that's just The Hobbit, right? And we have the other ones here too. We have the Fellowship of the Ring, which looks great. My favorite one's going to be the Two Towers right here, because it has this really cool image of the spider on the front, and also this huge tower right here that looks massive on the back. With the last one, of course, being The Return of the King, which has, of course, a huge battle going on here with people fighting, flags being raised, and also some crazy looking waves on the back as well. But again, the illustrations just carry all the way through this, so you can see that it just looks beautiful, man. So when I do read this is going to be a very fun experience reading these editions, and I think you can even buy these online right now on Amazon. I got it one day on sale because I think it was like 25% off, and not reading the series just yet, I know I needed to hopefully have a good experience reading it. I know it's a cornerstone in the fantasy genre, so I'm excited to read these books. Absolutely, they look beautiful. Again, Lord of the Rings, Alan Lee special editions right here. Alright, ending this thing off strong, the last 2 books here are part of an ongoing series by Mr. J. Kristoff, with that being the Empire of the Vampire series, and I have a special edition of the first book and the standard edition of the second book, but both look freaking stunning. With the first one being Empire of the Vampire, this is the special edition right here that has colored illustrations throughout the entire book. Empire of the Vampire, you would know, is packed full of illustrations that are in black and white. This edition right here has colored images, so when you're reading through, you have these really nice illustrations that help paint the world in this series even more in terms of your read. I'm just going to open up one more. There we go. So fantastic artwork, looks great, and the book itself, I mean, it has this nice foil work on the outside with this great quote on the back as well, and it just looks great. It looks fantastic on the shelf, but what's cool is that the standard edition of the second book, being Empire of the Damned, looks phenomenal. I mean, this is just a standard edition, but it looks great. I love the artwork style going on in this series. I had to get the UK edition because I'm not the biggest fan of the US edition, so I opted to get the UK one, so it took a little bit of time to get here, but it's here now. And inside, just like the first book, we have lots of illustrations as well. I have not read this book just yet, so I don't know who that is, but I'm going to find out eventually. Again, that is Empire of the Damned by J. Kristoff. And that's the last book that I have on this list for now. So out of all the books that I went over, which one was your favorite, and do you have any books on your shelf that you think are the most beautiful? Let me know down below, or you can reach out to me on Twitter or X so you can post your picture to me, tagging me so I can check it out, because maybe I want to buy it myself if it looks that freaking cool. Again, thank you so much for sticking around this long. You've earned 1 XP token, and if you're already a subscriber, you get an extra XP token, so here you go. Have a good one, keep reading, peace.